Welcome back to our channel Hidden Coins World. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we are diving into a journey that will take us back to 1974, when the United States minted a $quarter that, on the surface, looked like any other piece of loose change that might jingle in your pocket. But as you are about to discover, one of these very coins has turned into an extraordinary treasure, carrying with it a staggering value of $37 million. And as I unfold this fascinating story, you will realize why such a seemingly ordinary coin has captured the attention of historians, collectors, and investors worldwide. The 1970s in America was a time of change. The Vietnam War was coming to a close, the Watergate scandal was shaking the foundations of trust in government, and inflation was creeping into daily life. Amidst all this turbulence, the United States Mint continued its timeless tradition of producing coins that represented stability, strength, and continuity. The $quarter of 1974 was one of these coins. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual. It was made of the standard copper-nickel clad composition, measured 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and weighed 5.67 grams. It bore the familiar design of George Washington on the obverse, a portrait that had been a part of American coinage since 1932. On the reverse, the majestic bald eagle sat proudly, wings spread, arrows in its talons, symbolizing both the nation's strength and its commitment to peace. But every coin carries with it a deeper story, and the 1974 quarter is no exception. Minted in 3 major locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, it rolled off presses in the hundreds of millions. For most people, these coins were simply part of everyday life. They bought newspapers, paid for bus rides, or slipped into vending machines. But within this ocean of ordinary circulation coins, rare variations, errors, and hidden gems were waiting to be discovered. And it is precisely in these subtle differences that collectors find their passion. It is these nuances that transform a coin from pocket change into a treasure chest. Let us step into the design itself. George Washington's profile was sculpted by John Flanagan, a respected sculptor chosen during the bicentennial of Washington's birth. The profile shows Washington facing left, his hair tied back in a colonial-style queue, exuding authority and dignity. Above his head reads the word "Liberty," while beneath the portrait lies the date, 1974. To the left of Washington's neck appears the phrase, "In God We Trust." This design, though simple, embodies American ideals and the spirit of the nation. On the reverse, the eagle perches with outstretched wings, arrows grasped firmly, surrounded by the words, "United States of America," and "E Pluribus Unum," with $quarter at the bottom. Each stroke, each symbol tells of patriotism, resilience, and pride. And yet, while billions have passed through countless hands, only a tiny fraction of these quarters hold secrets worth millions. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1974 quarter lies in the errors and unique minting quirks that occurred. In the coin world, an error is often more valuable than perfection. Double die obverse, off-center strikes, and planchet errors are among the quirks that excite collectors. Imagine a coin struck slightly off alignment, where the design appears shifted, or a quarter accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchet intended for a different denomination. These rare anomalies are not mistakes to be discarded but treasures to be prized. For the 1974 quarter, a small number of unique error coins emerged, and over time, they have skyrocketed in value as collectors sought them with relentless passion. But how does a coin go from being worth 25 cents to a jaw-dropping $37 million? That is where history, rarity, and human fascination come together in perfect harmony. For decades, collectors and experts studied the 1974 quarters, uncovering versions that bore striking differences. A few were struck on 40% silver planchets left over from earlier issues, a mistake that should never have happened but somehow slipped through the cracks. These silver-clad errors were never intended for circulation in 1974, making them some of the rarest and most desirable quarters in modern American coinage. Combine that with the fact that only a handful survived in pristine condition, and you begin to see why their value transcends imagination. Beyond physical rarity, the mystique of the coin adds to its allure. Each rare coin carries a story, not just of its minting but of the countless hands it might have passed through, the journeys it made, and the sheer luck of its survival. Some collectors stumbled upon them by chance, tucked away in old change jars or inherited collections. Others actively hunted, scouring rolls of coins in hopes of finding that one extraordinary piece. The emotional connection and the thrill of discovery drive the value as much as rarity itself. The coin market has always been influenced by supply and demand, but in the case of the 1974 quarter, the excitement reached unprecedented levels. Auction houses reported record-breaking sales whenever one of these rare quarters surfaced. Collectors from across the globe competed fiercely, each hoping to claim a piece of history. What started as bids in the tens of thousands quickly grew into the hundreds of thousands, then millions. And then came the shocking moment when a particular 1974 quarter, of unmatched quality and rarity, was sold for an astonishing $37 million. That number sent shockwaves not only through the coin community but also across the wider world of collectibles. It proved that even the smallest piece of currency could command the kind of value usually reserved for fine art, diamonds, or historic artifacts. Now, think about this for a moment. A coin that most people would overlook as spare change has transformed into an object more valuable than a luxury mansion, a private jet, or even entire companies. This is the magic of numismatics, the idea that history and human passion can elevate an ordinary object to extraordinary worth. The 1974 quarter is no longer just a coin, it is a cultural icon, a symbol of hidden fortune, and a reminder that treasures often lie in the most unexpected places. Collectors and historians alike point to this coin as a testament to the importance of preserving history. Every coin minted tells the story of its time, reflecting the politics, economy, and artistry of the era. The 1974 quarter, in particular, speaks to the transition of the United States in the 1970s, a nation balancing tradition with change, strength with uncertainty. Holding such a coin is like holding a piece of that history in the palm of your hand. And for the collector who now possesses the $37 million quarter, it is not merely about wealth, it is about owning a tangible piece of America's story. This astonishing valuation also sparked renewed interest in coin collecting. Suddenly, people around the world began digging into their piggy banks, coin jars, and dresser drawers, hoping to uncover hidden treasures. Stories circulated of ordinary individuals finding life-changing fortunes in coins they had ignored for years. And while not every quarter from 1974 is worth millions, the dream of discovering one keeps the spirit of numismatics alive and thriving. It inspires curiosity, patience, and a sense of adventure in every collector. When you hold a 1974 quarter, you might wonder, could this be one of those rare treasures? Most likely, it is not. But just the possibility makes every quarter more fascinating, more worth a second look. And for those lucky enough to stumble upon the true rarity, life can change overnight. That is the heart of the story, a blend of history, chance, and human imagination woven into a single piece of metal. So, as we bring this incredible journey to a close, let us step back and reflect. The 1974 quarter dollar is more than just currency. It is a canvas of history, a spark of curiosity, and for one extraordinary example, a vessel of unimaginable wealth. From the ordinary to the extraordinary, from pocket change to $37 million, this coin reminds us that value is not always in plain sight. It waits to be discovered, cherished, and celebrated. And that is why the 1974 quarter has become one of the most talked about and sought after treasures in the world of coins. Top 2. The story of the United States quarter dollar minted in 1979 is not just about a piece of metal, but a journey through American history, artistry, and the fascinating world of coin collecting where small details can turn ordinary coins into priceless treasures. To truly understand the allure of the 1979 quarter, we must first take a step back and explore what the quarter means in American culture, how it has evolved, and why one particular coin from this year has captured the imagination of collectors across the globe. When people hold a quarter in their hand, most think of it as simply 25 cents. But behind every coin is a story, and for the 1979 quarter, that story begins with the long-standing legacy of George Washington's image. Since 1932, Washington has graced the quarter dollar, replacing the Standing Liberty design to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth. By 1979, this design was deeply embedded in the American consciousness, a familiar companion in everyday transactions, vending machines, arcade games, and toll booths across the country. It was a time when coins were still a major part of daily life, and the quarter, in particular, was king. The 1979 quarter was struck during a significant moment in American history. The late 1970s were marked by cultural shifts, economic challenges, and technological advancements. Inflation was rising, the nation was grappling with changes in leadership, and at the same time, the United States Mint was experimenting with modern minting techniques and exploring the production of the Susan B. Anthony dollar coin. Amid these transitions, the Washington quarter continued to serve as a constant, grounding the nation in its traditions while also reflecting the craftsmanship of its era. On the obverse side of the 1979 quarter, we find the stately portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. His profile faces left, his expression resolute, symbolizing leadership and the enduring principles upon which the United States was founded. Above his head is the bold word, liberty, reminding Americans of the ideals their currency represents. To the left of Washington is the familiar motto, "In God We Trust," while at the bottom sits the date, 1979, grounding the coin in its historical context. Flip the coin over, and you are greeted by one of the most recognizable reverse designs in American coinage, the heraldic eagle. Spread wings, a bundle of arrows clutched in its talons, and olive branches symbolizing peace, all framed by the inscription, United States of America, and the denomination, quarter dollar. Above the eagle, the national motto, E pluribus unum, declares, out of many, one. This combination of strength and unity was especially meaningful during the turbulent times of the late 1970s. Minting details make the 1979 quarter even more intriguing. These coins were struck at 3 different mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins bear no mint mark, Denver quarters carry the D, and San Francisco produced proof coins with the S mint mark. Each variation has its own unique story in terms of mintage numbers, distribution, and eventual rarity. Collectors often look for subtle differences between these coins, such as die varieties, strike quality, and condition. The Philadelphia Mint produced the highest number of 1,979 quarters, intended for circulation across the East Coast and much of the nation. The Denver Mint also struck millions, distributed primarily throughout the western United States. But it is the San Francisco Mint that always captures collector attention, as it is responsible for the beautifully crafted proof sets. Proof coins are struck with specially prepared dies on polished planchets, creating a mirror-like finish and frosted details. These coins were never meant for general circulation but rather for collectors, giving them an aura of exclusivity and prestige. Within the 1979 quarter series, errors and varieties further enhance their allure. Minting is a precise science, yet even with modern machinery, mistakes occur, and it is these errors that sometimes create coins of astronomical value. Double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even coins struck on the wrong metal stock have been documented in various years. Collectors scrutinize their 1979 quarters with magnifying glasses, hoping to find such anomalies that could transform a simple 25-cent piece into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The late 1970s were also a turning point in numismatics. More people were beginning to see coin collecting not just as a hobby, but as an investment. The silver crisis of the 1960s and the end of silver coinage had already shifted attention toward base metal coins, and now the spotlight was on varieties, condition, and rarity. The 1979 quarter, despite being made of copper-nickel clad rather than silver, became part of this collecting wave, with proof sets, mint sets, and error coins gaining in demand. What makes the 1979 quarter truly fascinating is not only its design or history, but the fact that certain rare examples have achieved legendary status in the numismatic world. While most 1979 quarters are still only worth face value, a few exceptional coins, due to condition, errors, or unique provenance, have fetched astonishing prices at auctions. Collectors are willing to pay millions for a coin that is unique, flawless, or carries a special historical significance. Imagine holding a coin that has been in circulation for decades, touched by countless hands, exchanged for candy, newspapers, or bus fares, and realizing that this very coin could now be valued at more than most people earn in a lifetime. That is the magic of numismatics, the blending of history, rarity, and human fascination with tangible objects. The 1979 quarter stands as a perfect example of how everyday objects can transform into cultural treasures. As we journey deeper into the story, we must acknowledge the emotional connection collectors have with coins like the 1979 quarter. For some, it is nostalgia, a reminder of childhood days spent saving quarters for arcade games or soda machines. For others, it is the thrill of the hunt, scouring through rolls of coins from the bank, hoping to find that elusive rarity. And for a select few, it is the prestige of owning a coin so rare and valuable that it becomes a centerpiece of their collection. The 1979 quarter has inspired countless stories of discovery. There are tales of people finding rare varieties in pocket change, unaware at first of their significance, only to later realize they were holding a coin worth millions. These stories fuel the dreams of collectors everywhere, keeping the excitement of coin hunting alive. Every 1979 quarter in circulation becomes a potential treasure chest, a hidden gem waiting to be recognized, and this brings us to the most extraordinary part of the tale. Among the countless 1979 quarters minted, there exists one that has achieved legendary status, a coin whose rarity, condition, and historical importance have made it a centerpiece of numismatic lore. This coin, through a combination of minting perfection and collector demand, has been appraised at a jaw-dropping value. While the average 1979 quarter remains common, this one unique example has been valued at an astonishing $33 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $33 million for a single quarter dollar. To think that a coin once used for a pack of gum or a bus ride could now be worth more than a luxury mansion or a private jet is almost beyond imagination. But this is the reality of the numismatic world, where history, rarity, and desire collide to create values that defy belief. Top 3. Today, we are about to embark on an extraordinary journey into the history, beauty, and rarity of one very special coin, the United States quarter dollar from the year 1993. While at first glance, this 25-cent piece might appear like just another coin rattling around in pockets, purses, and piggy banks, the reality is far more fascinating. Hidden within its design, its history, and its rarity lies a treasure that has captured the attention of collectors around the globe. By the end of this journey, you'll discover why this humble 1993 quarter has skyrocketed in value, astonishing the world with a market worth of an incredible $27 million. But before we reach that grand reveal, let's travel back through history to truly understand the legacy of the American quarter and why the 1993 edition became such an iconic piece of numismatic treasure. The quarter dollar has a lineage that stretches back more than 2 centuries. First introduced in 1796, the quarter quickly became a cornerstone of American currency. Its utility made it indispensable, but it was the artistry of its designs that elevated it to something far more than just a coin. Through the decades, the quarter has been a canvas reflecting American values, history, and identity. In 1932, a major transformation took place. That year marked the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, and the U.S. Mint introduced a brand new design featuring the first president himself on the obverse, or front, of the coin. Sculpted by John Flanagan, the Washington portrait became an enduring symbol of leadership and freedom. From that moment on, the quarter would be more than currency, it became a daily reminder of the nation's founding ideals. Fast forward to 1993, and the Washington quarter was still proudly circulating across the United States. Yet, the early 1990s were a fascinating period in American history. The Cold War had ended, technology was advancing rapidly, and the nation was entering a new era of cultural and economic transformation. Coins minted during this time captured not just the continuation of tradition but also the optimism and confidence of a country stepping into the future. The 1993 quarter, minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, became a reflection of both continuity and change. At first glance, it might look like countless other Washington quarters. George Washington's steadfast profile graced the obverse, while the reverse displayed the majestic heraldic eagle, wings outstretched, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbols of both strength and peace. Yet, for collectors and historians, the details, the mint marks, and the condition of these coins carried immense significance. Let's begin with the Philadelphia Mint, where quarters bore no mint mark in 1993. Millions were struck there, flooding the nation with fresh coins for daily use. Then there was the Denver Mint, where quarters carried the small D mint mark, adding another layer of collectability for those who sought to own examples from different facilities. And finally, the San Francisco Mint, where the most exquisite proof coins were struck for collectors, featuring mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp details. These proof coins were never meant for circulation but for the collector's market, offering beauty and craftsmanship that made them instant treasures. To the untrained eye, all these coins might appear identical. But to the experienced numismatist, the subtleties in minting, the quality of the strike, and the state of preservation turned the ordinary into something extraordinary. Now, you may wonder, how does a coin minted in such vast numbers ever reach the astronomical heights of $27 million? The answer lies in a combination of history, rarity, condition, and demand. First, let's talk about history. The Washington Quarter of 1993 marked the final stretch of the traditional eagle reverse before the monumental State Quarters program launched in 1999. In that sense, the 1993 issue represents the last era of the classic design, tying it to nearly 7 decades of American coinage tradition. For collectors, that makes it a symbolic bridge between the old and the new. Rarity, however, is where the story becomes truly exciting. While millions were produced, only a tiny fraction survive in pristine condition. Coins that entered circulation quickly acquired scratches, nicks, and wear from daily use. But those preserved in flawless condition, what collectors call mint state or even proof-like condition, became increasingly scarce. Imagine holding in your hand a quarter from 1993 that still gleams as if it were struck yesterday, with no blemishes, no dullness, just perfection. Such coins are the holy grail for collectors. Condition is measured using the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 70, or mint state 70, is considered absolutely perfect under magnification, a rarity in itself. In the case of the 1993 quarter, coins that have achieved this perfection are breathtakingly rare. Demand is the final factor, and perhaps the most powerful. Coin collecting is more than a hobby, it's a passion, a pursuit of history, art, and treasure all wrapped into one. Collectors from around the globe compete fiercely for coins that represent milestones in American history, especially those preserved in the highest possible quality. Auctions have become battlegrounds where millionaires and institutions bid furiously for the privilege of owning a piece of numismatic history. And that's where the story of the 1993 quarter takes its most dramatic turn. One particular specimen of the 1993 quarter surfaced in an auction house not long ago, and what set it apart was its condition and provenance. This wasn't just any quarter, it was a flawless coin, preserved in a state of near immortality. Under magnification, the details of Washington's hair, the feathers of the eagle, and the gleaming fields of the coin dazzled even the most experienced experts. Graded a perfect MS 70 by a top certification agency, it was hailed as one of the finest known examples of its kind. Collectors realized they weren't just bidding on a coin, they were bidding on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to secure an icon. The competition was fierce, driving the price higher and higher. What began as a modest starting bid skyrocketed into the millions as the world watched in awe. And then, with the final strike of the gavel, history was made. The 1993 quarter sold for an unbelievable $27 million, cementing its place as one of the most valuable coins of the modern era. This incredible story isn't just about numbers or money, it's about the meaning we attach to history, rarity, and art. For the average person, a quarter is just 25 cents. But for collectors, it is a doorway into America's past, a testament to craftsmanship, and a symbol of enduring legacy. The 1993 quarter reminds us that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places. Imagine the thrill of pulling change from your pocket and realizing that one coin could alter your life forever. The magic of coin collecting lies in those possibilities. Every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth fortunes. So, the next time you come across an old quarter, don't dismiss it as just spare change. Look closely, study the details, check the mint mark, and consider its condition. You never know, your ordinary-looking coin might just be the next multi-million-dollar treasure waiting to be discovered. The 1993 United States quarter dollar has proven that the value of a coin extends far beyond its face value. It carries history, artistry, rarity, and, for one extraordinary piece, a value that reached $27 million. That's the magic of numismatics, and it's why collectors will continue searching, hoping, and dreaming, because the next great treasure may already be in your hands.